One of my favorite things about doing this podcast is the fact that I get to meet new people, learn their story, and share it with the rest of the world. Listen in as I speak with Harv from Seek First Sports as he explains his journey through the sports world today on the Game Time Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time! Woo!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Time Guru. I'm your host, Shane Larson, as you know. And before we get started, you guys know the drill. I want you to go over to iTunes, find the review section, give me a quick 5-star review if you can, the rating, and then leave me like a 1-sentence review. It really helps me out if you can do that. But you can also find me on any social media plugins such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. And if you want to find the links to those, I'll put them here in the description so it's easier for you to go straight there. Find me there and follow the show. It would be greatly appreciated if you could share this with your friends as well. Now, today, as you heard in the introduction, I want to kind of allow people to tell their story to the audience. And I'm joined by a good friend of mine who I met through podcasting in the podcasting community. His name is Harv from Seek First Sports. And Harv, I appreciate you, teaming up with me. It's been a hectic time trying to get our schedules to correlate, but I appreciate you joining me today, man.
Hey, no problem at all, man. Glad to do it, bro. I know we've talked a lot back and forth via call-ins and different topics on each station, man, but definitely glad we're getting able to do it right now, bro.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So for the audience, just to get a quick, brief, overview of who you are, could you describe yourself in one sentence? If you could describe yourself in one sentence, what would that be?
One sentence, I'm probably going to have to combine two things which are bad random, bro, but I probably talk and listen about the same amount, but a lot of people probably would say that I talk too much. And some would probably say that I don't talk enough. So I'm probably one person that listens and talks equally. And obviously, with this anchor station, this outlet has been great. I get to do a little bit of both of those things. So that works out.
That's awesome. And so I guess, depending on the setting, that's actually a really good thing, because if you're in a professional setting where you need to listen and you've got that attribute, that's great. If you need to talk, you got that as well. So I guess you got the best of both worlds as long as you utilize it correctly, right?
Definitely, man. That's the aim, of course.
Awesome, man. So we've referenced Seek First Sports a couple of times already. Can you explain what is Seek First Sports?
Yeah, I can, man. So it kind of has come about through a few different mediums. Growing up, childhood, really military brat. I do have a family that has a faith in God, which is huge. So it's kind of based off of a Bible scripture in Matthew about seeking first the kingdom of God, and all other things will be added to you. So that's the base of it. But being a baseball player, it's a baseball term as well. Seek first. You want to get on first base. You want to make things happen. In life, baseball has taught me a lot about life, and there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs in the game. And it's the same thing. The first priorities, make the first things first, family, job, work, making sure there's food on the table. So for me, it's a bit of a mantra as well, just to make sure that I'm putting the right things first in my life. And I have an opportunity now to talk about sports and share my experience playing sports with some young men from the ages of probably about 8 to 13 right now, and on through high school and college age.
That's so awesome, man. It's cool to hear that, because I actually didn't know where you came up with the name. So it's cool to see that you have the correlation between your faith, and your passion of baseball, and then how it correlates with life in general. So that's awesome to hear that you put that together, and that's where the name of your station came from. That's awesome, man.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it's been the aim from the jump. Buddy of mine and I came up with it a couple of years ago. I started using it actually as a PlayStation age, to Seek First, and it just kind of stuck, man.
That's great, dude. So where can everybody find you? Your Seek First Sports Talk, where can they find you at?
So you can find me Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Seek First Sports. On Facebook, it's a little bit different. as it is here on Anchor. You can almost also find the Seek First Sports here on Anchor, but we're at Seek First Sports everywhere else except for Facebook. We do have a Seek First Sports page, but I have a personal account there, and it's just Seek and then First spelled out. So first name Seek, last name First, everywhere FIRST.
My shout out to the audience is to make sure you go and follow him. I actually follow him on Instagram, which is kind of cool because I get to see the behind the scenes footage of your coaching and stuff like that. It's kind of cool to see the personal realm of things, to see how your teams are doing, the young men, which we'll get into here in a little bit. So I encourage everybody to go follow him on social media, find him here on Anchor. We'll be posting this on Anchor as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever, but go find him on his Anchor station and you can follow him. And if you guys have Anchor, you can call in and he'll interact with you. I promise you that. So, Harv, let's get to know you a little bit deeper, right? We already know how you came up with Seek First Sports, but I want to know, in regards to sports, who your teams are. Aren't you from the Bay Area or around there? And aren't you a 49ers fan?
Yeah, man. So I am actually in Sacramento, a city just outside east of Sacramento, called Antelope. It's in Antelope, California. I'm in Northern California since, man, a long time. We got back from Germany in 1991. Like I was saying earlier, my dad was a military brat, so I was going to be a senior in high school, and my dad did not want me to have to start all over in baseball. He was getting transferred back to the East Coast in North Carolina, so I ended up staying with my high school baseball coach my senior year of high school, and I've been here ever since, aside from leaving to play baseball while I did that, so in high school, college, and some professionally. So I am a Niners fan. We are struggling bad. I don't know what the final result was today, but I'm pretty sure we lost. I think we were down 14-0 the last time I saw before our last game with our 12-year-old team, man. So in Sacramento, I went from sophomore through my senior year of high school here. Actually was going to go to a private school, Santa Clara University in the Bay Area. Ended up getting a last-minute call from the coach at Sacramento State University. That's where I ended up going to college. Got drafted there, played some pro ball, and now I am finally ready to get back to the game, man.
In regards to the 49ers, let me just touch base on that. They did indeed lose, but it was actually a really, really close game. It came down to the very end, and you guys had Bethard, I think is how you pronounce his name, playing quarterback, and he's the rookie from Iowa. Yes. And he was killing it, so I'm actually impressed with how he played. He actually almost pulled him into a comeback, ended up losing on the final drive. Wasn't any fault of his, I don't think. But, yeah, they're struggling. My question for you, though, as a Niners fan, here, Harv, your team, I've mentioned this before a long time ago on Anchor, but the organization itself, that's the biggest implosion I've ever seen of any organization from front to back. I mean, we're talking from the leadership up in the front office all the way down to the best players you had on offense and defense, all deciding that they were going to call it quits within the same offseason. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you handle that as a Niners fan?
Man, it was tough, man, and I think for me, with this the same year we lost Iapati, our offensive lineman, to Arizona, and then the big one for me was when Pat Willis decided to retire. And he had the issues with his feet. He ended up telling people later he had been hurt. And then in your mind, you're like, oh, you know what? He had a great career. I get why he's calling it quits, but we still have Chris Borland in there who had almost 150 tackles in his absence, and then he retires, and Justin Smith retires. And then, of course, we had what was going on with Harbaugh and Trent Baalke, and then Chip Kelly coming in, and we're thinking things are going to go in a better direction, especially for Cap's sake. But, I mean, none of it ended up working out, man. I know Chip wanted to get Dak Prescott last year. Baalke didn't want to. And obviously he wouldn't have been what he is behind that line in Dallas, but, I mean, you would like to see that, man. It was hard to watch, and it's one of those things where, as a fan, I think I probably have somewhat of a unique perspective, even though I haven't played football. I had an opportunity to play in high school, but made a mistake and didn't get to play, and another life lesson, obviously. But I look at things a little bit differently, like all 4 teams that are left in baseball right now. I'm a Giants fan. In baseball, we had a terrible year, but I can't. I think the NLCS game, too, has started right now. I can't wait to take part in that game. And I think just at the end of the day, bro, when it comes down to the Niners, they're going to have to start over. And they did it by cleaning house after the said implosion that you just talked about. I loved it. They gave Lynch and Shanahan 6 years, and I wouldn't mind seeing. I said it a couple of weeks ago, man. I wouldn't mind seeing CJ start. You kind of see everything happening now with Bowman, and sounds like we're shopping high. You have 37 new bodies on the field this year that weren't there last year. You have undrafted free agents. I expected, honestly, I thought we were going to double our wins to 6. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but I think seeing the youth grow, seeing the defense grow, I think the defense is going to be really good once we add a couple pieces to the secondary. Love the front 7. I think we have some pieces offensively, even with the undrafted rookies that we have, Bourne and I always forget this kid's name. I know Bourne, and I'll think of it by the end of the conversation, I hope. But if I don't, it's all good. Niners fans know what I'm talking about. But I just think we're at a point right now, I say throw CJ in there, man. Everyone looks at his senior year at Iowa. I say if you have a chance, pull up his junior year highlight and look what he did there. I think he lost a couple pieces, lost offensive lineman. Kittle was still there, but he killed it his junior year. So I think he has what it takes to be able to make some plays, and might as well put him in there because we know they're saying there's about 5 QBs in this draft, and it looks like we're going to get our hands on one of them. So we'll see what happens with that, man. Hard to watch, especially after coming off about 3 or 4 years of playing some really good football, NFC championships, the Super Bowl against the Ravens, but we're starting over, man. The division looks like it's starting over. The Rams are leading the pack, man. I don't know what they did today. I know they had was against the Jags, but we'll see what happens, man. From one of the best divisions to arguably middle of the pack, we'll see what happens, brother.
In regards to the quarterback situation, next season, do you take one in the draft? If so, who is it? Or do you try to get, the rumor was getting Kirk Cousins. Do you pay the $30 million plus that he's going to be asking for?
It's kind of a coin flip for me. Obviously, I like Darnold, man. I'd hate to see him skip over another California kid like we did that Aaron Rodgers guy in Green Bay. If we draft one, I'd like to see that. Going into this season, I really, really wanted Cousins. He's been with Shanahan before. He knows the system. I just don't know, man. It sounds like his wife really likes DC. It sounds like he wants stability, but, sign a long-time contract here, you can get stability too, man. Going in, is he 29 right now? I wouldn't mind signing him to a 4 or 5 year deal, man. If I had to, even though it's a coin flip, if I had to choose, I'd want Cousins, man. I think he's better than some give him credit for. I know some people love him and some people think that he's not all that, but it's kind of the NFL of a system quarterback, man. As good as Brady is, I'm going to throw it out there and say that a lot of it has to do with Belichick and the system. Is he not a great quarterback? Of course he is. I think he can do it almost anywhere, but I think it's the same thing with Cousins, man. When Hoyer's on and making the right reads and not predetermined, I think you get glimpses of what Shanahan's offense could look like, but you're dealing with a career backup that has been a spot starter. So Cousins for the win. If we end up having to draft one because Cousins stays put, then make it Darnold, man. Get him in San Francisco.
I respect it. It's an interesting look at it. I'm not a huge Cousins fan. I'm not a huge Cousins fan at all. I'm a Cowboys fan, can't stand Cousins. I'm an Ohio State fan, still couldn't stand Cousins in college. So I've had to hate him since day one. But you know what? If he's the best, like you said, system quarterbacks, sometimes that helps out. If you're in the right system, you can flourish. So going into the next segment here, I want to talk about your coaching experience real quick. So you coach some youth. I want you to talk about that. Like you told me earlier today that you were coaching, I think, the 12U boys. If you could, what got you into coaching? Explain to the audience what got you into coaching and what you love the most about it.
All right, will do, man. I actually just started up this year in January. Had a couple friends that have been trying to get me to do it for years, and I'm finally ready, man. In truth, and we'll get into it when we talk about football a little bit. It was a little tough to even watch baseball for quite a while after playing it. Finally got over myself a couple years ago, just not really having the time. Things ended up happening this year, and it was a choice I probably made in about 6 to 8 weeks. Sat down and talked to my wife about it. There was some apprehension because you love that safety net and stability, and it was going to be taking a step out. So in January, I started coaching 15-year-olds, and I ended up coaching a mix of 14 and 15, seeing some of the younger age from 10 to 13. I currently coach 12 and 13-year-olds. 12-year-old is the last year they see the smaller field. 13, they transition into bigger fields. And for me, more than anything, from seeing 15-year-olds play that are basically high school players, freshmen and sophomores, I saw a lot of baseball players, not just on my team, and it's not that we didn't have guys on our team that couldn't play, but I saw a lack of fundamentals and basics in the game that I'm like, man, how come they don't know this? And I'm thinking in my mind, these are freshmen and sophomores. They're behind the 8 ball. So in my mind, I'm like, I need to get to 10 to 13-year-olds and prepare them for high school baseball. And it just so happened that I ran into someone. I actually interviewed him up here on the station, Alex Smith, the SB Baseball, who I was with today. That's basically how his philosophy lines up. He's just trying to prepare guys to get to the next level. So you end up having high school players. You want to get into college ball, Division I, Division II, NAIA. You just want to keep playing baseball. Give yourself an opportunity, even if it's just to pay for some of your school. So that's my main motivation is I've kind of had my shine in the game, especially here in Sacramento, successful high school and college career, and then getting drafted. And I'm just at the point I don't feel even seek first. It's awesome, but I don't have to have that shining in lights. I really just want to see good quality baseball, young baseball players in the Sacramento area. So that's my main motivation.
Working with the youth, anytime you're coaching, I'm sure it's really cool to, just see them develop. Like you said, just you're developing these young men into something bigger. So it's really cool to see that you're doing that, helping that generation out. I want to talk about your professional career. We've referenced it a few times already. You said you got drafted. Explain the whole process from the time you were in high school to the time you went to college and then the time you got drafted into the pros. Like, explain that process and how it all worked for you and maybe how it compares to others, I guess, because I'm not familiar with the process.
Gotcha. Will do. So, I mean, even in high school, if you're even a decent baseball player or you're playing against high school teams that have good baseball players, there's going to be some bird dog scouts out there that are just kind of looking to see if there's players with ability. Every now and then they'll send someone else in if the kid is a stud. So the Sacramento area, when I play, which is part of the reason I want to coach now, high school baseball, it seems like it has dropped off quite a bit from when I was in high school. And it seems like that's the consensus with all the coaches. So as a high school player playing in front of scouts, you end up being a little bit nervous at times. So like, the Yankees guy is here or the Cubs guy is here. And you end up playing with a lot of good players. You end up playing against a lot of good players. And it's completely different now because they play, in my opinion, way too many games without practicing. But that's what you're playing to try to get drafted or you're playing to try to get college scouts attention as well. So, I mean, there's 3 junior colleges right here in Sacramento that Sacramento kids can go to. They're at Sacramento State. They're at UC Davis. Berkeley's an hour away. So you're trying to get to the next level. And at high school, unless you're a stud, if you don't go in, I say, the top 20 rounds, it's probably your best bet to go ahead and go to college and refine your skills a little bit more. The only reason I say top 20, you're going to make enough money in signing bonus to kind of make it a few years. And if you develop, then you're going to be knocking on the door AA, AAA, to major league. So I say there's a bonus to try and do it if you get drafted that high, just because you're going to be getting taught by by pro-level scouts. So once for me, I got drafted like in the 60th round or 50th round by the Dodgers. So, and I had a pretty good high school career, but I was 150 pounds, soaking wet, 5'9", not a real big guy. and they probably wanted to see what I was going to do. So I ended up, like I said, almost going to Santa Clara, ended up going to Sac State. Decent freshman year, really didn't even touch the field until my 17th game that year. Junior year, had a pretty solid year first half, tailed off the second. And then the third, and you're going to your junior year at a 4-year university, it's draft year for you. So you have to do what you have to do. And being at Sac State, we played things like Stanford, Cal Berkeley here, in the Big West back then, Long Beach State, Cal State, Fullerton, some pretty good baseball teams, and I knew I had to perform against those teams. And it was just, honestly, for me, man, it was a blessing my last year. Doubles turned into home runs. I ended up getting the home run record at my college that year in 1997 when I got drafted, and it's still there. Because of the bats that they use now, it's probably going to be standing. So that's pretty awesome, man. And from going in high school in the 50th something round and then hearing that you have a chance to be drafted in the top 10 rounds out of a Division I university, it's a pretty good accomplishment. A lot comes along with that, especially when you're in school, you know you're leaving early. I would probably make some different decisions in my classes. Instead of having one semester left, I have a semester and a half left, and I'll just keep it there for those that can read between the lines. But it's a process where teams want to work you out. They want to compare you to other players in Northern California that play the same position. There was a kid from USF, Jermaine Clark, that got drafted in the 5th round right before me, and I was drafted in the 6th round, and I'm like, wait a second, we're both second basemen. And as I thought, the Mariners were the only team that worked us both out together, because we played against each other in high school. He was in Vacaville area, which is about 30, 40 minutes away. And with them drafting him in front of me, obviously they probably liked him a little bit more. And Seattle was the only team that had me throw from the outfield. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm moving to the outfield, which I was okay with. And they did something completely different and moved me to third base. And anyone that knows anything about baseball, Alex went through it. Going from the middle of the baseball field to the corners it's not the most comfortable position, especially on a field that isn't very good. So it was an experiment at third base. I still ended up getting a little bit better there and playing some games there, playing up the middle, and a lot of center field as well on occasion, the corners. But it's a process that realistically, after playing in the Little League World Series at 15 years old, I kind of got a taste of that caliber of baseball, and I always wanted to do it. Came here to Sacramento, California, and I played varsity as a sophomore and went to Sac State, got drafted in the 6th round my junior year, man. So it was a good journey, learned a lot, learned a whole lot during that time. But I'd go through it all over again. Obviously changing some things, but I'd do it all over again, bro.
That's so awesome, man. Now, when you get into the pros, you got there. Talk about how the transition was for your life. What was it like? What was life like for a young man like yourself? I would assume you were in your early 20s, and you're in the professional level trying to do this. Like, what was the whole thing like in the minors?
Man, 100 miles an hour, it seemed like, man. At least for me, it was, I'll say it was like college on steroids, man. When you went on the road in college, it was a little bit different, obviously. On occasion, we would fly. We flew out to Hawaii every year. Sometimes it's a bus trip. And you're used to staying in hotels, but 55-game college season and then 140-game minor league season at the most, 2 days off during the month. You get up, you work out, you get breakfast if you're on the road, you eat breakfast if you're at home, you hit the gym. You're at the baseball field anywhere between 2 and 4 p.m., getting early work in, hitting ground balls, running, seeing the trainer, anything you have to do to prepare for batting practice and field outfield practice. And then for the lights to go on at 7 or 7:15, on occasion playing day games. I'll tell you, I was a guy that, as we may end up talking about, I know that I spent a lot of time in my room, man, just like college playing video games, kind of hanging out. I wasn't a huge party animal because of my upbringing. Would go out on occasion, but it was a lot like being in college, but it was for a much longer duration, man. So you end up, some restless nights. You get kind of bored being in small spaces and hotel rooms and whatnot. But if you've been to college, you get a glimpse of it. I'd say if you went to a bigger university in Alabama, Ohio State, even Boise State, you guys are huge in football. I would liken it probably to your football team there at Boise State. That kind of, so those players probably get a similar experience.
So compare the the fans in the college game that like when you would go on the road. What's the comparison between the fans and the game day atmosphere to maybe that of the minors? Because here in Boise, we have a minor league baseball team, and I mean they don't get a ton of fans. They do a good job at like the stadium's really small to begin with. But I just want to see what your thoughts are. Like, do people care more about the college side or the minor league side, in your opinion?
Yeah, I would say depending where you are, a lot of probably low A and high A ball teams, depending on the city, man. I played 2 years in Lancaster, California, where it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. We would get 2,000 to 3,000 a night. Same in Appleton, Wisconsin, we'd have 3,000 to 4,000 a night. And it was, you could tell it was big there, but there are places that there's not a college real close. You have to travel far to get to a college game. I actually played against that Boise team my first year I was in Everett, Washington, so we would go up to Boise. That was like a 13-hour ride from us. Boise State, guaranteed Boise State football is a whole lot bigger than Boise's minor league baseball team, which when I played there was a short season A-ball team with the Angels. It may still be, I'm not sure. But you think about college game day for baseball is kind of the stepchild of the big three, man. It's always been that way. I played basketball growing up. I didn't start playing baseball until I was 12, so football is huge, basketball is huge. I mean, even college. The College World Series doesn't get the kind of press that it should. It's been better, I'd say, probably the last 8 to 10 years, so I will say that. I remember I was looking at Sac State play games on TV, like, man, that would have been pretty cool back in the day. But fans probably are bigger depending on the city. There may be one or two, especially AA, AAA clubs that do really well. The Sacramento River Cats here in Sacramento are huge, and I'd say they're probably bigger than Sacramento State football and basketball, same with UC Davis. It probably depends on where you are. Boise State, definitely college football over the baseball team.
Right. I totally understand that. Now, before, like, this might be one of the last questions we talk about, but I kind of want you to explain, maybe what the toughest part about being in the minors is, because you hear a lot of people talk about it, like, and you'll see movies they put together where, like, the players go into the minors and everyone has the ultimate goal of making it to the majors. They want to make it big. Well, I mean, I guess to the public, it seems like that's the ultimate goal for everybody. I'm not sure if that truly is the ultimate goal for everybody, but I mean, it seems like it's a grind because you have all these levels of the minors and everyone's trying to improve and get better, but you hear that the pay's not always that great. It's a grind. But what's the toughest part about being in the minors and battling through everything to try to get to your ultimate goal? What was the toughest thing you faced?
Probably being able to deal with not getting upset over things you can't control. I mean, you're seeing the ball well, you're feeling like you should be promoted, but the guy in front of you is seeing it just as well, and you can't promote if the guy in front of you is doing well. So I think along with the grind, along with the pay, you're right. I mean, you make some good money if you get drafted high enough, but you're really playing to get to the big leagues, man. And I think more than anything is having a short memory, and that's something I'm trying to pass to the boys, because if you wear stuff, if you hold on for it too long, and obviously you hear it's not all the blame isn't on how games are set up, but it does become political. And if you know the right people, it benefits you. If you're related to somebody, it benefits you. And trying to deal with that, I think, on a day in, day out basis when it's so clear and in front of you. And I came up in a time, I'll just be frank with you, where PEDs were huge, man. I played from 97 to 01 in the minor leagues, and without saying anything, I was in locker rooms, and a lot of guys were doing it. I was told point blank that was my ticket to get there, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. And some people could, and they were rewarded for it, man. And I feel like the game kind of turned an eye to it because baseball wasn't doing so well. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But again, something that you don't have control over. You don't have control over being drafted to the Mariners and you're a middle infielder and Griffey A-Rod and Brett Boone are there in their prime, so it just happens, you know what I mean? And I basically got pushed out because we traded Griffey to the Reds, cleaned out their farm system, traded A-Rod to the Rangers, cleaned out their farm system, and I had been there 4 years, just got pushed out. And then I'm playing independently, so it helps you learn a lot about life. Unfortunately, in my case, I learned it after the fact, so I'm trying to put guys in the right position now when it goes back to the coaching thing. You know what? There's going to be things that happen you have no control over. You have to learn to accept failure. You have to learn to accept things that you can't control, and those are important things when you're on the road as much as you are. Your roommate is your roommate, but at the same time, he might be competing at shortstop and second baseman to get promoted before you do. So it's kind of juggling all that with the other factors that you don't have control over. You can only control what you can control. Go out, play hard every day, brush your butt and work. But at the end of the day, it may not be enough. And baseball, in my opinion, more than any other sport, obviously NBA has the D-League now. You have the Canadian League and stuff like that for football. But baseball has always been structured where in an essence, there's 4 to 5 steps to make it to the big league. There's some guys that are fast-tracked, but it doesn't happen to a lot, man. And some people can, at 26, I decided to hang them up. You know what I mean? Different factors for different things, but there's guys that have played to 28, 29, 30 years old and made it to the big league. So those are the ones that persevered through whatever they had to persevere through when they kept grinding, man.
I appreciate you actually sharing all that with me, because with the whole PED discussion, I guess it's the same concept for anything, no pun intended here, but you kind of have to play the game within the game. Like, you have to play the game if you kind of want to promote. You see you see it in businesses, you see it at any corporation. Like, the ones who tend to, get the upper hand are the ones who play the game, quote unquote. So it's like, if you're not going to do that, whether it's against your ethics, your morals, whatever, unfortunately, sometimes it's just how the business works. But it's cool that, like, you're a man of faith. So I think it's cool to see how much of a blessing it is now, because you can use your experiences that you had in the professional realm and pass that on to the young guys that you're coaching. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And again, at the end of the day, for me, that's my aim, man. I want to see, just as I stated, man, when I say I want to see better baseball in Sacramento, I mean it. But it's, for me, I tell the parents all the time, there's 2 teams that I basically run, and there's another one that I'm helping out with. And I tell them straight up, I was like, at the end of the day, you have to bust your butt and do the right things. And I've already experienced this game. I have a wealth of experience and failure, which you're going to experience in this game. I mean, again, 3 out of 10 is not successful anywhere else, really, except for baseball. You know what I mean? And to know that you have another opportunity, I see so many kids swing at a pitch and miss, and I'm like, and they're stomping and they're hanging their heads. And I'm like, wait a second, he didn't strike out, he didn't fly out, he's down 0-1, but his at bat is already over. I'm like, it's not the end of the world. Have a shorter memory. Go to the next pitch, and guess what? You're not out. You're still in the batter's box. Let's go. But youth sports is interesting, man. It may be because I've been away from it for so long, but I don't know if it's the video games. I only get them for like 3 to 5 minutes, bro. And I tell my kids this all the time. If I can get any of you guys to listen and retain information after that 3 to 5 minute mark, then you guys are going to be great. If you guys can get to 6 to 8 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes of really listening and grasping what I'm trying to tell you guys, it'll help, man. And you see some get it. You see some of their faces light up when something clicks, and that's the aim at the end of the day, bro. I've kind of been there, done that. I'm not boasting in any way, but I can help your kids get better, and I can help them approach the game the right way, because at the end of the day, it's probably about 95% mental, man. It's between the ears, and at 10, 11, 12 years old, sometimes you don't get that.
Absolutely, man. And I'm actually looking forward to I expect to continue following you on Instagram and seeing your stories and how things work. So I'm kind of excited and anxious in a good way to see the fruits of your labor, like with the youth sports that you're coaching. I want to see how the baseball in Sacramento kind of improves and develops over the next 2, 3, 4 years. See how it improves. So I'm excited to see it, man. So good work. To finish up here, Harv, we'll go off topic real quick. We're going to talk about Madden for just maybe a minute. I kind of want to talk about this because you made me laugh when when I follow you on like Anchor and Instagram, all that. Like it makes me laugh because in a sense I'm very similar to you on some things. Like I always see you posting about Madden. Do you ever play like online against anybody else? Like, or do you do the season? Because I know you do something on Twitch and you're playing with the with the Niners or something. But do you ever play online?
So that's what I'm doing, bro. I actually stopped playing this game about 2.5 years ago. Have played with it's basically an online league. All 32 teams are user owned. We do trades. You know what I mean? There's a draft. You have to scout players. It's literally the whole nine, man. So when you see me pop up on Anchor, when you see me pop up on Twitch, 9 times out of 10 it is an official league game. Like we've been going for about, I think I was with them for 6 years to 2 years also. This is year 9 or 10, I believe, that we've been doing this. And there's a core of about 26, 27 guys. We're always kind of rotating some guys here and there, and you get a couple more to stick. But I got into online gaming, man, years ago, man. Call of Duty, Battlefield, MLB The Show. Took the Twins to the World Series one time. It's one of those things, man. I started playing video games as a kid. I'm 42 years old now, and it's crazy because I laugh at what you can pass on. Like, I love music, I love video games, and I produced a son that is he does some of the same random mannerisms and everything. Is nuts, man. But I play with him now. I started playing again to kind of play with him, and he had a PS3, I had a PS4, so I just ended up getting back in. They hit me up this year, the commissioner from the league, like, Harv, you want to get back in the league and get your Niners? And I had the Falcons last time because I had taken the time off. But I got the Niners, and obviously they're not the Niners anymore. If you've seen them, I made a bunch of trades. I have some of the young guys still there, but we're in year 2, and my team is struggling, man. I was kind of chronicling my return after the 2-year layoff, man. I went to the NFC Championship like 4 out of 7 seasons. The last I was there, so I knew what I was kind of walking back into, man. And it's just, the game's similar. There are some changes, and it's just rough out there right now. I went 7-9 last year. I think I'm like 1-6 right now, but I will have a winning season next season. You heard it here first. Here we come.
Yes, I love it, man. I appreciate you, Harv. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we go, do you have any final words in regards to anything we spoke about today?
Not too much. Just any young athletes out there listening, man, have a short memory. There's things you can control, effort, being on time. There's things we can't give you, that grit. But end of the day, breathe, have fun, enjoy it. It's not that serious. It's just a game. We played in a tournament last week with one of my 13-year-old teams, and I told them from the beginning, I don't care about wins and losses. Yes, I want to win. Yes, it'd be cool to get a trophy or two, but I have a bunch of those that are collecting dust right now at the end of the day. I said, so for me, I want you guys to come out here, enjoy it, have fun, make some lasting memories, and just get better every day. If you're getting better, wins are going to come, but if you're getting better, that's my aim. I want to see you guys play at the next level if you decide to do so, and that's what we're here for, man. So anyone playing youth sports, keep pushing. Find a place that pushes you. Find a place that gives you the tools that you need, not that just goes and plays tournaments all the time, but actually develops your kids into good athletes or guys that may not be athletic. There's lots of things you can do with some SST, some specific sports training to get better. So keep that in mind. That's all I got, folks.
Appreciate you, Harv. You guys, you know where to find him. Seek First Sports. You can find him, like he said, on all of his social media outlets. Go to the beginning of the show. You can hear exactly how to find him, where you can find him at. And for all you listeners, this is the Game Time Guru. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week.